All right, picture this. A quiet Saturday afternoon, the kind where the sun's just warm enough to make you lazy, and I'm sitting on my porch with a cold beer, watching my dog Rusty chase his tail in the yard. Then, bam, a sound like a bomb going off rips through the street, metal crunching, wood splintering, and there's Linda Hensley, our neighborhood's self-crowned HOA dictator, stumbling out of her shiny Lexus SUV, staring at what's left of her front bumper. My fence? Still standing, proud as ever. Her car? A mangled mess, hood smoking, grill looking like it just lost a fight with a bulldozer. Neighbors are poking their heads out, some snickering, some filming, and I'm just standing there, trying not to grin too hard. This wasn't luck. Folks, this was months of planning, a trap I set to end Linda's reign of terror. Want to know how a regular guy like me turned a simple fence into her worst nightmare? Grab a drink, settle in, because this story's got it all petty revenge, a little ingenuity, and a whole lot of karma. Let's rewind. When I moved to Willow Creek, a sleepy little suburb outside Raleigh, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. You know the vibe, kids biking in the cul-de-sac, neighbors waving as they water their lawns, houses neat as a Pinterest board. My place wasn't much, just a modest two-bedroom with a yard I kept tidy, but I poured my heart into one thing: my fence. Sounds goofy, right? But that fence wasn't just wood, and nail sit was my project, my pride. I spent weekends sketching it out, hauling pine board from the hardware store, hammering away under the Carolina sun, a beer in one hand, a level in the other. By the time it was done, it was crisp white, perfectly straight, framing my yard like a picture frame. It said, "This is my space." For a while, life was good. I'd sit out front with Rusty, sipping coffee, watching the sunset, feeling like I'd carved out my own little slice of the world. Then Linda Hensley rolled in, like a storm cloud in designer heels. Late 50s, always in sunglasses big enough to hide half her face, driving a Lexus that screamed, "I'm better than you." She wasn't just another neighbor, she was on the HOA board, acting like she owned the whole damn neighborhood. At first, I ignored her. She'd strut around, leaving passive-aggressive notes on mailboxes about unapproved flower colors or grass half an inch too tall. Whatever, let her play queen. But then she zeroed in on me. It started small, her slowing down as she drove by, window cracked, tossing out snide remarks. "That fence could use a fresh coat, Tom. HOA prefers eggshell, not off-white." Or she'd catch me at the mailbox, smirking. "Did you measure those slats? Symmetry's in the bylaws, you know." I nod, bite my tongue, tell myself she was just bored. But then it got worse. One morning, Rusty's barking like crazy, and I step outside to find my fence busted, two boards snapped, tire tracks carved deep into my lawn. No storm, no accident, just the unmistakable path of an SUV. Later that day, I see Linda peel out of her driveway, cutting right across my yard through the gap, waving at me like it's no big deal. My jaw hit the ground. Who does that? I figured she'd apologize, maybe offer to cover repairs. Nope. At the next HOA meeting, she stands up, all fake concern, and says, "We need to address damaged fences dragging down property values," staring right at me like I'm the problem. I filed a complaint, sent photos, even a blurry video of her Lexus plowing through. The response? A form letter saying they'd look into it. A week later, I get a $150 fine for fence disrepair. I was livid. She wrecks my property, and I'm the one paying? That's when it hit me. His wasn't just about a fence. This was personal. Linda wasn't just careless. She was deliberate. She'd drive through my yard twice a week, sometimes more, smirking as she did it, like she was daring me to fight back. I tried talking to her once, real calm, catching her unloading groceries. "Linda, you're wrecking my fence. Can you please stop?" She barely looked up, just scoffed. "Oh, Tom, it's hardly a fence, just some boards. If you wanted privacy, you should have built something stronger." Then she hit me with, "Honestly, I'm doing you a favor ads character." Character? She was turning my yard into a demolition derby. I went to the HOA again, showed them more evidence. They called it a gray area. Linda even had the nerve to suggest my fence was the issue, not HOA friendly. I walked out of that meeting with another fine and a fire in my gut. I wasn't just mad he was done playing nice. See, I'm not a hothead. I don't throw punches or slash tires. I've learned the hard way that real revenge takes patience, like setting a trap and waiting for the prey to stumble in. So I watched Linda, studied her like a hawk. Morning coffee runs, afternoon errands, evening patrols in her Lexus, hunting for HOA violations to report. And every few days, she'd barrel through my yard like it was her personal shortcut. It wasn't a mistake height, it was a power trip. That's when I decided, if she wanted to make my fence her playground, I'd make sure it fought back. I started digging not just into my yard, but into the HOA bylaws, city codes, anything that could give me an edge. Late nights, coffee gone cold, I pored over fine print until I found it. Homeowners could reinforce their fences however they wanted, as long as the outside looked the same. Jackpot! I could build a fortress and call it fence, and Linda wouldn't know until it was too late. I called up my buddy Mike, a former contractor, and we mapped it out. Steel posts, the kind they use for guardrails, sunk deep in concrete. Pine boards to keep it pretty, painted white to match. And for a little extra sting, I'd plant thorny roses along the base. HOA loves landscaping, right? I worked at night, under a work lamp, rusty keeping watch. Digging 4-foot holes, pouring concrete, setting posts. It was backbreaking, but every blister felt like a step toward justice. I hid the steel and pine, kept the paint pristine, and wove those roses through the slats, their thorns sharp as knives. From a street, it looked like the same old fence. Underneath, a tank trap. I added 2 security cameras, tucked in the bushes, one aimed at the fence, one at the street. If Linda came for round 2, I'd have her on Tapino excuses, no lies. During the day, I played dumb, waving at her like nothing was up. She'd cruise by, smirking, thinking she had me beat. Oh, Linda, you had no idea. The wait was torture, like sitting on a powder keg. Every morning, I'd check the fence, expecting to hear her engine. Every night, I'd wonder if she'd strike. Then one Saturday it happened. I'm on my porch, pretending to read, when her garage door rolls up. Out comes the Lexus, gleaming, arrogant as ever. Linda's behind the wheel, sunglasses on, not even glancing my way. She revs the engine, swings the wheel, and floors it straight for my fence. The sound wasn't wood snapping. It was a clang, like a sledgehammer hitting an anvil. Her SUV lurched, bumper crumpling, airbags popping like a gunshot. The roses tore into her paint, thorns slashing like claws. She screamed, a high-pitched wail that echoed down the block. Neighbors spilled out, phones up, recording the wreckage. For once, my fence stood tall, untouched. I strolled over, beer still in hand, as Linda stumbled out, hair a mess, scratches on her arms from the roses. "What the hell did you do, Tom?" she shrieked, pointing like I'd rigged a bomb. I shrugged, cool as ice. "Looks like you underestimated my fence, Linda." The neighbors lost it, laughing so hard I thought they'd choke. She kicked the fence, expecting it to budge. Clang. Nothing. "You set me up," she spat. I pulled out my folder permits, bylaws, receipts, and said, "All legal. Want to see the footage too?" Her face went white. For the first time, she knew she'd lost. The HOA president, Carl, showed up, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Linda threw herself at him, whining about death traps and sabotage. I handed Carl the paperwork, highlighted in yellow. He sighed, flipping through it. "Linda, you drove into his property. It's his right to reinforce." She screamed about lawsuits, but the crowd wasn't buying it. Someone yelled, "What did you expect, a welcome mat?" I nearly spat out my beer. Then came the real kicker. A week later, Linda lost it, stormed over, ripped my mailbox out of the ground in broad daylight, screaming I'd ruined her life. Neighbors filmed, gasping. Mrs. Carter from next door shouted, "That's a federal crime, you idiot." Cops rolled up, cuffs out. Linda, still clutching the mailbox, tried to spin it. "He provoked me." The officer wasn't having it. "Ma'am, hands behind your back." The neighborhood cheered as they hauled her away, her Lexus still sitting in her driveway, a crumpled monument to her ego. The fallout was glorious. Linda's insurance claim got denied negligence, they said. Her premiums spiked, repair bills piled up, and the HOA kicked her off the board. Her so-called friends ditched her, and a for sale sign went up in her yard. I rebuilt the fence one last time, adding a plaque, "Linda's last ride." Neighbors loved it, snapping pics, calling a landmark. Carl even shook my hand, muttering, "You did what we couldn't." Looking back, it wasn't just about a fence or a car. It was about standing up to someone who thought they could bully their way through life. Linda thought she was untouchable, but all it took was a little patience, a few steel posts, and her own arrogance to bring her down. There's a lesson here. Sometimes, the best way to fight a bully isn't with fists or shouts, it's with smarts, playing their game better than they do. So what about you? Ever dealt with a Linda in your life, someone who thought they could walk all over you? Drop in the comments. Tell me how you handled it, or if you're still plotting your own fence moment. And if you love this story, hit that subscribe button. We've got more tales of petty revenge and poetic justice coming your way. Stay sharp, folks.